Yeah, just Sveno Mick here. A short video today. I'm just making some breakfast, and just wanted to do a quick, just a little quick talk on. Been doing a few videos. Just hang on a second, just put my toast in. Excuse me, Harry. The little dog Harry. You're a beautiful little boy, aren't you? He's such an affectionate little dog. He'll just stand there and just look at, as he's doing now. You're beautiful, aren't you? Now, little Harry, I'll just show you him. Oh, come on, boy. He's a beautiful little boy, aren't you? He's a pug-crossed Tibetan Spaniel, and he is an absolute beautiful little animal. He'll stand there, he'll watch you. Hey, little Harry, he's a beautiful little boy, and he's got a little short snout on him. He's not as short snouted as a little pug. Probably, he's bigger than a pug. He's longer than a pug, and he's got the real little. Well, I don't know what Tibetan Spaniel natures are like, but he's similar to little pugs we've had. We've had two other little pugs, and he's similar nature. But when I call Carl's to Harry's mummy, and when he knows at time when he's eating, when it's time to feed, when Carl's gets home, he knows it's not far off time for his tea. And I'll just say to him, I think Mummy's not far away. And as I just said that now, and he's looked up at me, I think Mummy's not far away. And you'll just see this little face. He's got a little fret. He's got the little lip risen now. Haven't you? Beautiful. But beautiful little dog. Anyhow, what I was going to go on about, say this morning, just having breakfast here and thinking about different stories I want to put on the Sveno Mick YouTube site, and one is, and look, I'd actually like is if people that watch it, if you don't mind putting a comment on. I've lived in this town pretty well all my life. I lived down in Conondale, which is effectively nearly like a suburb of Maleny. It's a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes drive, but you're going through farmland and houses and pretty well houses continuously. It's a dairy farming and was a large timber area. They still harvest pine there, planted pine. I think it's mainly slash pine there in the areas that they'd cleared many years ago up in the forest, and that's ongoing. But I lived down there with my ex-in-laws and my first wife for I think it was 5 or 6 months while our house was getting built, and then done a short stint down at my dad's little unit in Cloundra. He worked all over the state, like he had his agitator. The last actual business, or the second last business he actually owned, he used to contract to a pool digger, digging out pools too, for swimming pools. But the last full-size truck that Dad owned was an agitator, and he worked for Sellers Concrete, and he'd work out to Brisbane, south of Brisbane, up to Rockhampton. He'd done a lot of work up in Rockhampton with his Aggie, and Sunshine Coast, Brisbane, you name it. They'd just send Dad wherever the truck was needed. Done a lot of work out at Wivenhoe Dam, massive dam, one of Brisbane City's water supplies. You got Wivenhoe, which is way bigger than Somerset. Somerset Dam, I think, was built in the 50s and probably finished maybe, I think it was in the 50s, finished in the late 50s. It's a big dam, a lot of catchment, but I think it's only about a tenth or 20% the size of Wivenhoe. It's a massive dam. So Dad worked out there for X amount of years, with his agitator, all over the shop. Like I say, it's not. I know I've been going on a bit about my dad, but I've worked with a lot of people, and Dad was right up there with work ethic. And it's not that you've got to have a great big, massive work ethic, but we had a lot of kids in our family. Well, the first 5 Dad was about, and then Mum and Dad split, but they still talked. Sort of, not often, but once they got over the initial usual bad blood that gets in that sort of thing. I remember the last meeting Mum and Dad had here. Dad come up, he was down at my place, and I live just down the road, and was renting a house down there, and this is the family home that I live in, and Carl's and I, and Dad come up because he knew he was dying. We knew he was crook, because I continued to see my dad. Some family members didn't, but I continued to see Dad right up until he passed away. So I've been doing a fair few videos on Dad, because if you don't do these sort of things, and like there's certain stuff there that I think I'm pretty correct on in pictures and that. Well, I know I'm correct on a lot of the truck stuff and the dozer stuff. Exact places of pictures I can't say 100% sure, but I question him at length with his working career, because I'm inquisitive. I'm an inquisitive person. I've always been inquisitive. If it opens, I want to know how it opens. If it shuts, I want to know how it shuts. And I'm interested in the history of the area that I've grown up in, because I actually, that old saying, that's home. That's home. And look, I don't know if I'll ever shift away from here, because we like living here, my wife and I, Carl's, and this is the we're known pretty well within the area with the older inhabitants. Obviously, as new people come, they wouldn't have a clue who I am. But that's unless you're really out there amongst the people, that's to be expected. But as the old citizens of the town of Maleny and surrounds, they know who the Swensons are. We're a big family. My grandfather, my dad and his next oldest sister, Shirley, which Shirley is still here, which I've done the story on Shirley Laney. She still lives in Maleny. Her husband was in the Air Force for many years. And they come up here, had back up here, Auntie Shirley, in the early 70s, and they're still here. My grandfather, George, the old Gallipoli veteran, he's a hard man, and that's the facts of it. My father and him weren't very close, and that was made pretty straight out fact to us over the years by my father. But that's the way it is. He was a hard man, a very hard man, and but that's all history, and people can sugarcoat history all they want, but the facts are still better. It's like a very intelligent person I've known for many years, which is actually my twin brother, and loves history, teacher, high school teacher, university educated, and loves education, is a prolific book reader. He will read books. He'll read books like I have hot meals. He just reads. And an intelligent mind, I think, very intelligent. And he said, you've got to look at different things, and a lot of the facts of things is the winners write history. And, sometimes the facts aren't actually the facts. And I've seen that in being witness to car accidents. And 3 or 4 people of something that they see will have a different account of what they see. But you can only take history for what you're told or what you see. And that's why I like doing these small, getting back to the story. I want to get back to the story because this is getting into 10 minutes and takes a long time to download. But this is why I have been doing short stories on my family, and I will continue. But I would like if people would say whether they like it or they dislike it. But also I want to do stories on the existing older people in the area that are still there and get their stories while they can, if they're happy to do it. I talked to a bloke there yesterday that's nearly 80 years of age now, Peter Mitchell, and a giant of a man, absolute giant of a man. And he wasn't interested in, he's quite happy to talk to me, but he didn't want to appear on camera. And that's fair enough. A lot of people don't. I've got one of my very best, dearest mates, Bill, Willie Wonkel. He detests me taking videos around him. And it's not because he's a shifty, shady bloke. He's straight up and down. Loves a beer, straight up and down citizen. And I won't even say his last name because he gets the shits big time. So, but people that are interested in me telling their life story, because like I've said, I know my family's life history to a degree, to a fair degree, but you've got to decipher how they see things, and you'll never know whether they're wrong or right or indifferent, but it's their verbal history, which with my dad, I talked to my dad at length and my mum at length about life growing up. And my family, I know what life was growing up as one of 8 children. And as you've seen on the Sveno Mick, I've put in a fair bit of stuff about my life. Some of it, the greatest life I absolutely love my life. I'm not a materialistic person, but I really enjoy living. I've had some, as of recent last 5 years, I've had some real struggles with anxiety, some really, not dark suicide moments, but some really dark, whether I'm going to pull through moments. And unless you get anxiety, a lot of people wouldn't even understand. But it's all documented. It's my documented history of my life existing on planet Earth, southeast Queensland of Australia, and how I see things. Now, I might not see things correct, but I see them correct in my mind. But for me, what I really am interested in doing at the moment, apart from obviously working, and I absolutely cherish my life with my wife, my son, or our son, our grandson, and our immediate family, and I bump into other family members from time to time and relatives, which I'll do videos on within the foreseeable future, because we have a fair, I'm related to the Vogels, that's my mum's maiden name, there's the Swensons, there's married by to the Corks, which I said Jim and Jane Cork in one of the other videos. Family members married, my aunties, and then there's the Summerses, which are married to other cousins, and there's the Maronis, and the list just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And they're all people from within the half an hour drive or less. Slim Maroney, one of the local legend, man now into his 80s, well into his 80s. Slim and Jean, Jean, absolute beautiful person. She's very not a healthy person now. She's in her very late 80s. It's my brother-in-law's parents, John, and you know, you sit back and these are people like he was a timber getter, truck driver, grader operator, business owner, landscaping supplies, tippers, tip trucks, I remember his Acco 3070 with a 903 Cummins on a short trailer, carted gravel for years from there to Reestville Quarry, Council Quarry. Used to subby and cart stuff, materials for the council. And that 3070, when I was going to school, it was a big truck, an Acco, and just a day cab, Australian made truck, with American drivetrain obviously. It was American drivetrain, all the heavy duty stuff in the day. There's still a lot of American trucks here, but Slim Moroney, his story, which I've just put upon little bits and pieces, and they've opened up a little museum on the timber mills and timber getters and pioneers of the area at Peachess, which I went down on the weekend. I was going to try and video it and put it on Sveno Mick, but because there's COVID-19, it's not opened up at the moment. But it's got one of his blitzes there, and a lot of his old chainsaw memorabilia, your Blue Street chainsaws and all that sort of stuff, which most old timber getters would have heard of. First time I'd seen a Blue Streak there 12 months ago when he showed it to me. I'd never seen one. Told me the goods and the bads and probably the not so goods and a lot of not so goods on how they run compared to modern day equipment. But talking to blokes like him, talking to women, the wives, my wife's grandfather, my wife, dearly beloved grandfather and grandmother, Carly's, Jack and Ethel from the Southern Highlands of New South Wales, Jack and Ethel Baxter, and Graham, my father-in-law, Kath, his wife, or his, not anymore, but Graham and Ethel were together for over 60 years. They both passed. Ethel passed away, and I think it's over 5 years now, and Jack, within 6 months, he'd gone. His life partner had passed away, and Jack just, a more sadder thing I've never ever seen at the funeral of Ethel, and I was sitting behind Jack, and World War II veteran of horrific fighting up in New Guinea and Borneo, and Jack was a stretcher bearer, first aider in World War II, and photos I've seen, horrific photos, and I actually interviewed him, and I'm going to get the rights off his family to see if I can put the interview of interviewing Jack, because he didn't talk much about World War II, but I'm going to see if I can put that up, because that's an intriguing story of a soldier from World War II on the doorstep of World War II on the doorstep of Australia. But look, I'm going to pull it up at that, but look, what I'd like to do is if you could please just put up a comment, tick the like if you don't mind, or the thumbs up or the thumbs down, whichever way. And if you don't want to see this sort of thing, just write it, and obviously with your name. But to me, it's the sort of thing I'm going to concentrate on a bit now, because I sort of want to document as much of my family history like this, not written, because I'm not very good at that sort of stuff, and I thoroughly enjoy doing this sort of stuff. So if you should just say, yeah, it's good to see, or no, I don't really like seeing it, that'd be, good, or to whether I just won't put some of them up or whatever. But I'm going to sign off with that now. I'm playing with this. I think I'll say about my anxiety quickly before I go, because this is 19 minutes. It's going to take a long time to download. My anxiety is I never stop moving. And I haven't had anxiety since January. I haven't had an anxiety attack, but my brain is very active, and my brain's always been active, but my brain, since anxiety, has become way more active, and I'm a lot more fidgety. I didn't even realise I was turning that until I looked. I've always got things going on, and that's just the way it is now. But I'm going to leave it at that, and I hopefully you're enjoying my little videos. This is an extremely long one, probably one of the longest ones I've ever done. And but it's, to me, a place of ownership, or a place in history in a place where I've spent a lot of time, and I like talking about, is Maleny, it's the Sunshine Coast, and there's beautiful places all around South East Queensland, but this is pretty magical spot. The Glasshouse Mountains, I think they're magical, and Aboriginal history, as far as I understand, say they are magical. And also I've heard from one of my workmates, his wife had chronic life debilitating disease, and they say the magnetics of the Glasshouse area, now this might be wrong, but this is what his wife's doctor told her with her particular thing, which was, eventually kills her, I can't think of the name of it, get in and around the Glasshouse Mountains. They lived up north a bit, they lived up around Bundaberg or above. Get in around the Glasshouse Mountains because the magnetic forces in that particular area only occur in one other place on the planet, which is somewhere in South America. Now, whether that's correct or what, I don't know, but to me, for me, growing up in this area and listening to the traditional owners' stories and the stories of the Glasshouse, which Captain Cook named them the Glasshouse Mountains when he sailed by, and they actually pulled up and they climbed a few of the hills. And the stories of the Glasshouse, to me, it's a pretty magical area. So that's why I like it around here. There's a lot of things I like around here. I love the timber around here. Love the big trees when you get up in Belthorpe, out in the Conondale Ranges are known as Conondales. It's all national park out through there. I go out there on parts of the national park, but I go out there on a dirt bike. I haven't been out there for a while because my back's been giving me a hell of a lot of grief, which it is today, standing here. It's giving me grief. But anyhow, I'm going to stop the waffle. And this is a very long video, one of my very longest. On that note, it's all so serious, and I need a shave. I shaved the head, but it takes me a while to go over this, and I hate shaving. I wish it would all completely fall out and I'd have no hair at all. On that note, after 22 and a half minutes of talking, which I love doing, Sveno Mick from Swenson's Mowing, or Mick Swenson, Sveno Mick out.